The barber pole worm sounds almost cute, right? Don't let the name fool you. This little critter is a real problem for farmers, especially those raising sheep and goats. We're talking about a parasite, a nasty worm that lives in the stomach of these animals. Now these worms are tiny, but they can cause big trouble. They're bloodsuckers, literally. They latch onto the lining of the animal's stomach and start feasting. This leads to blood loss, weakness, and even death if it's not caught early. The worst part, these infections can be sneaky. You might not even realize your animals are infected until it's almost too late. That's why we call it the silent killer. But don't worry folks, knowledge is power. By understanding this parasite, we can take steps to protect our animals. Let's talk about the life cycle of the barber pole worm. Understanding how it spreads is key to stopping it. It all starts with the eggs. Infected animals shed these eggs in their droppings. The eggs hatch in the pasture and out come the larvae. These larvae hang out on the grass, waiting for their unsuspecting host. When a sheep or goat grazes, it swallows these larvae. And that's how the trouble begins. Once inside the animal, the larvae mature into adult worms and head straight for the stomach. They latch on tight and start sucking blood. The cycle continues when these adult worms produce more eggs, which are then shed back into the pasture. Early detection is crucial when it comes to barber pole worm infections. But here's the catch. The symptoms can be pretty subtle, especially in the beginning. You gotta be vigilant and know what to look for. One of the first signs is a pale color on the inside of the eyelid. This is due to anemia, a condition caused by blood loss. As the infection worsens, you might notice other symptoms like weakness, lethargy, and a loss of appetite. The animal might also have diarrhea, and in severe cases you might see bottle jaw. That's swelling under the jaw, a telltale sign of severe anemia. If you see any of these signs, it's time to take action. Eyes on the prize, diagnosis with FAMACHA and beyond. Now, how do we know for sure if an animal has barber pole worms? Well, there are a couple of ways to diagnose this sneaky parasite. One important tool is the FAMACHA system. It's a simple eye test that helps us assess the level of anemia in an animal. By comparing the color of the inner eyelid to a chart, we can get a good indication of whether or not worms are the culprit. But FAMACHA isn't foolproof. It's a great starting point, but for a definitive diagnosis, we need to look at a fecal sample under a microscope. This allows us to actually see the worm eggs and confirm the infection. Mastering FAMACHA, the importance of proper training. The FAMACHA system is a powerful tool, but it's only effective if used correctly. That's why proper training is so important. You see, FAMACHA isn't just about looking at an eye, it's about understanding the nuances of color and knowing how to interpret the results accurately. Proper training teaches farmers how to use the chart effectively, how to handle the animals, and how to make informed decisions based on their observations. Remember folks, a misdiagnosis can have serious consequences. It's always better to err on the side of caution and seek guidance from a veterinarian if you're unsure. Fighting back treatment and prevention strategies. So, what happens if we do find barber pole worms in our animals? The good news is that treatments are available. Deworming medications can effectively kill the worms and help the animal recover. But here's the thing, not all dewormers are created equal. It's essential to work with your veterinarian to choose the right medication and the correct dosage for your animals. Prevention is always better than cure. And when it comes to barber pole worms, there are several things we can do to keep them at bay. Rotate pastures regularly to break the worm's life cycle. Keep pastures grazed short to reduce the larvae's hiding places. Provide clean, fresh water to discourage animals from grazing near contaminated areas. Remember, a little vigilance goes a long way. By being proactive and implementing these strategies, we can protect our flocks and herds from this silent killer.